You've probably got natural toxins sitting in your kitchen right now. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 10 dangerous substances hiding inside common foods. You'll see how they can attack your body, and you'll learn the simple cooking and preparation mistakes that can turn a normal meal into a hospital visit. Cyanide. Eat an apple down to the core, and you're getting surprisingly close to a source of cyanide. As long as an apple seed stays whole, it usually passes through your body without causing harm. But when you chew or crush the seed, you break open its protective cell walls. That releases a compound called amygdalin, which can be converted into hydrogen cyanide during digestion. A few accidentally swallowed seeds aren't something to panic about. The real danger comes from chewing, grinding, or blending large amounts of apple seeds at once. Once cyanide is absorbed, it does something terrifying. It prevents your cells from using oxygen properly. Your lungs may still be breathing, and your blood may still be carrying oxygen, but your cells can no longer make use of it. That's why serious cyanide poisoning can cause dizziness, confusion, shortness of breath, seizures, collapse, and eventually cardiac arrest. People often panic if they accidentally swallow a whole apple seed, but the hard outer shell usually protects it, and it often passes through the digestive system intact, so you don't need to fear every apple you eat. Just throw away the core and don't blend whole apples with the seeds inside. Tetrodotoxin. Order fugu at a luxury sushi restaurant, and you're putting your life in the chef's hands. The liver, ovaries, and other tissues of some pufferfish can contain a deadly toxin called tetrodotoxin. It works by blocking sodium channels in your nerve cells. Those channels are essential for nerves to send electrical messages through your body. When tetrodotoxin blocks them, your nerves lose the ability to communicate with your muscles. Even tiny amounts can be deadly. The first signs can be tingling and numbness around the lips and tongue. Then the paralysis spreads. Your muscles weaken, your breathing becomes harder, and in severe poisoning, the diaphragm and breathing muscles can fail. One of the most frightening things about tetrodotoxin is that it mainly affects the nerves and muscles outside the brain. That means a victim may remain conscious while the body becomes progressively paralyzed. People often assume cooking the fish makes it safe, but heat doesn't reliably destroy tetrodotoxin. That's why fugu should only ever be prepared by trained, licensed professionals who know exactly which parts of the fish must be removed. Ricin. Plant a castor bean bush in your garden and you may not realize you're growing one of the most dangerous natural proteins on Earth. Castor beans are used to produce castor oil, but the seeds themselves contain a toxic protein called ricin. If the seeds are chewed or crushed, ricin can be released. Once inside the body, ricin enters cells and attacks the ribosomes. Ribosomes are the tiny structures your cells use to build proteins, and without proteins, cells can't survive. That's what makes ricin so dangerous. It doesn't just irritate the stomach, it can shut down the basic machinery your cells need to stay alive. After a serious exposure, symptoms can include vomiting, severe diarrhea, dehydration, low blood pressure, seizures, and organ failure. People often assume castor oil itself is highly toxic, but properly processed castor oil doesn't contain ricin. The toxin is removed during processing and stays behind in the waste material. The oil sold in bottles isn't the same as chewing raw castor beans, but if you grow ornamental castor plants, keep children and pets far away from the seeds. Myristicin. Shake a little nutmeg into your coffee or dessert and you're fine. But eat it by the spoonful, and this ordinary spice can become a serious problem. Nutmeg contains myristicin, a psychoactive compound that can disturb the central nervous system when consumed in large amounts. Inside the body, myristicin can be metabolized into compounds with stimulant and hallucinogenic effects. That doesn't mean a pinch of nutmeg is dangerous. The danger comes when people deliberately eat large amounts, often thinking it's a cheap way to get high. A few spoonfuls of ground nutmeg can cause intense and unpleasant poisoning. The symptoms can include dry mouth, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, rapid heartbeat, anxiety, confusion, hallucinations, and severe panic. And unlike some short-lived drugs, nutmeg poisoning can last for many hours, sometimes into the next day or longer. Teenagers sometimes try it because they hear it can cause hallucinations. But instead of a fun trip, many experience fear, disorientation, nausea, and a brutal hangover-like recovery. So keep nutmeg as a light sprinkle. Never eat it by the spoonful. Solanine. Leave a potato in the sun for too long, and it starts building its own chemical defense system. Sunlight can make potatoes turn green. That green color comes from chlorophyll, which isn't the poison, but it's an alarm bell. When potatoes turn green, they may also produce higher levels of natural toxins called glycoalkaloids, including solanine and chaconine. These compounds help protect the plant from insects, fungi, and animals, but in high amounts they can make humans sick. Inside the body, potato glycoalkaloids can irritate the digestive system and affect cell membranes and nerve signaling. Symptoms can include a burning feeling in the throat, nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, diarrhea, headache, dizziness, and in severe cases, neurological effects. People usually assume the green color itself is the poison. It is not. The green is a warning sign that invisible toxins may have increased along with it. Small green spots can be cut away deeply, but if a potato is strongly green, tastes bitter, is badly sprouted, or looks damaged, don't try to save it. Throw it away. Phytohemagglutinin. Toss a handful of raw red kidney beans into a slow cooker, and you're not making dinner. You may be making a hospital trip. Raw red kidney beans contain a lectin called phytohemagglutinin. This protein can interfere with the cells lining your intestines and trigger intense gastrointestinal symptoms. And the scary part is that it doesn't take many beans. Eating just 4 or 5 raw or undercooked red kidney beans can be enough to make someone seriously sick. Within a few hours, victims can develop severe nausea, stomach cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. Most cases aren't fatal, but they can be intense enough to send people to the emergency room. The most common mistake is soaking raw beans and then putting them straight into a slow cooker. Slow cookers may not get hot enough to reliably destroy the toxin. In some cases, low-temperature cooking can leave the beans more dangerous than people expect. The fix is simple. Soak dried kidney beans properly, discard the soaking water, and then boil them vigorously in fresh water before using them in a slow cooker or recipe. For canned kidney beans, the work has already been done. They are pre-cooked and safe to use. Oxalic acid. Bake a pie with rhubarb stalks, and you have a classic dessert. But eat the green leaves, and you're dealing with a very different part of the plant. Rhubarb stalks are edible. Rhubarb leaves are not. The leaves contain high levels of oxalic acid and related compounds. Oxalic acid can bind to calcium and form calcium oxalate crystals. In large enough amounts, those crystals can irritate tissues and put stress on the kidneys. Severe rhubarb leaf poisoning is rare. You would usually need to eat a significant amount to reach a life-threatening dose. But the leaves can still cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, burning in the mouth and throat, weakness, and, in serious cases, kidney problems. The key point is simple. Don't treat rhubarb leaves like spinach. Don't juice them. Don't cook them into a recipe. Cut off the leaves when you harvest rhubarb, throw them away, and only use the stalks. Hypoglycin. Bite into the wrong lychee at the wrong time, and you can interfere with the body's ability to keep blood sugar stable. Lychees can contain natural toxins such as hypoglycin A and MCPG. These compounds can disrupt fatty acid metabolism and make it harder for the body to produce glucose when it needs it most. That becomes especially dangerous in children who are already undernourished or who have gone a long time without a proper meal. In India, outbreaks of sudden illness among children were linked to heavy lychee consumption during a harvest season, especially when children had not eaten an evening meal. Their blood sugar crashed, their brains were starved of fuel, and some developed vomiting, seizures, brain swelling, coma, and death. That doesn't mean every lychee is generally poisonous. For healthy, well-fed adults, normal lychee consumption isn't the same as those outbreak conditions. The risk was greatest in vulnerable children in a specific setting with poor nutrition, heavy fruit consumption, and low blood sugar. Still, the lesson is important. Don't let children eat large amounts of unripe or questionable lychees on an empty stomach. And if someone becomes confused, vomits, or has seizures after eating lychees, especially a child, it's a medical emergency. Cashew shell oil. Try to crack open a cashew straight from the tree and your skin may react like it has touched poison ivy. The cashew nut grows inside a hard shell. Between the layers of that shell is an irritating oil containing allergenic compounds related to the chemicals found in poison ivy and poison oak. These compounds can bind to skin proteins and trigger a strong immune reaction. The result can be burning, itching, redness, blistering, and painful dermatitis. This is why cashews are almost never sold in their shells. And it's why the raw cashews you see in stores aren't truly raw, straight from the tree. They have been processed with heat, steam, or roasting to remove the shell and reduce the irritating shell oil. If you tried to harvest and shell a cashew yourself without proper equipment, The oil from the shell could damage your skin and potentially irritate your mouth or throat. So the danger isn't the packaged cashew from the grocery store. The danger is the unprocessed nut straight from the tree and the toxic oil hidden in its shell. Never try to crack and eat wild or fresh cashews unless you know exactly how they have been safely processed. Cyanogenic glycosides. Forage for raw elderberries to fight off a cold, and you may accidentally trigger chemical warfare in your stomach. Elderberries are popular in syrups, jams, and supplements, but raw elderberries, and especially the leaves, bark, stems, and roots of the elderberry plant, can contain cyanogenic glycosides. These are natural compounds that can release cyanide during digestion. Just like with apple seeds, the problem isn't the word natural. Natural doesn't always mean harmless. If enough cyanide is released, it can interfere with cellular respiration. Your cells can struggle to use oxygen properly, even while your lungs are still breathing normally. Raw elderberry products can cause stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, weakness, and dizziness. In severe cases of cyanide poisoning, symptoms can become much more dangerous. Because elderberry syrup is sold in health food stores, people sometimes assume that foraging and eating raw elderberries is automatically safe. It is not. The version in syrup or jam is safe because it's been cooked properly. Heat treatment helps reduce the risk from cyanogenic compounds, which is why elderberries should be cooked thoroughly before being turned into syrup, jam, or other foods. Don't eat the leaves, bark, roots, or stems. And don't snack on raw elderberries straight from the plant.